Congressman Jim McGovern. Can I have some quiet at the back, please? Hello? We're going to take a moment of silence for the loss of Molly, the daughter of Congressman Jim McGovern, and of course his partner, Lisa Marie McGovern. And we want to share our sympathies and sending healing love to their family. So we're just going to take a moment. Thank you for that. We know all too well, especially with the subject matter that we're here to talk about tonight, that there are many, many, many survivors and victims of sexual violence, and some of which are not here with us, and some of which are still surviving, and some of which who are thriving. But for all survivors, here and not here, I just want to say that we need to start to acknowledge and recognize their courage when they go through a life-changing experience like sexual violence. So here's some of our other esteemed guests that are here with us tonight, some of which you'll hear from later in the program. We have, I think, is Eladia Romero here from Jim McGovern's office? Yes, raise a hand if you are. I think they were going to be represented, but I don't see her, so maybe we'll catch her in a bit. Senator Robin Kennedy. Is Robin here yet? She's going to be sharing some remarks later. Did I miss her? She's not here yet? Not yet. Okay. And we also have, of course, none other than our mayor, Joseph Adam Petty, and he will share some remarks with us later as well. Is Representative David LaBeouf here? He was also going to join us. Do I see him here yet? Not yet. Okay. I want to thank Cherise. She had to leave. Our wonderful grazing table. The charcuterie table was provided by Charcuterie by Cherise. That's like a piece of art right there. I just look at the table. It's just so colorful and inviting. And there are cupcakes too. We tried to make sure that we had some gluten-free options. Unfortunately, the cupcakes are not gluten-free, so sorry about that. We also have some of our other local leaders in the community here. We have Michelle Smith, the CEO of AIDS Project Worcester. Wave to everybody, Michelle. AIDS Project Worcester that also deals with some tough subjects, very similar in terms of community response that Pathways does. We also have none other than our CEO of the YWCA, Deborah Hall. Deb, wave to everybody. Empowering women and girls, wow. Standing up against racism, wow. Okay, so we have some really great partners in the community here. We also have Web5 Bank represented who supports through their foundation work many nonprofits like Pathways. We have Monica Thomas Bonnet here tonight from Web5. We also have Juliana Tedesco from Mass Translations for anyone requiring Portuguese translation. She's at the back by the registration. Thank you, Juliana. We have a North County photographer here, Andres Gomez Montoya, so he'll be taking pictures throughout the event. So, perfect timing. Remember, if you do not want your picture taken, to get a dot from the registration table, and we'll do our best to make sure that we don't include you in those photographs. But we hope that you'll be open to that, because this is about ending the silence and talking about it, right? We also have, you'll hear from later, Chelsea Patras from North County Chenal, who's going to be performing with one of our very own employees, staff member, Wendy Aguilar. So you'll see them both later. We also have, let's see, I'm sure I'm missing some of you, I'm sorry. But in the interest of time, I'm going to move right into the next piece. So, why Denim Day? Like, this is a new thing? How long has this been going on? So some of you in the room probably have a good history of Denim Day, and some of you in this room, this might be the first time that you've been exposed to the campaign, to the concept. Denim Day is recognized annually, every year, on the last Wednesday of April, in honor of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is also a National Awareness Month. The Denim Day story began in 1992. I feel like Sophie on the Golden Girls, if any of you watch that. Remember, Sicily, 1992. But it was, not that far back for me. But for those of you in our audience who are younger, you probably don't even know the Golden Girls. But it was a sitcom. Anyway, 1992, an 18-year-old female, now think about that for a minute, 18 years old, was raped by a 45-year-old driving instructor who was taking her on her very first driving lesson. He took her to an isolated road. He pulled her out of the car. He removed her denim jeans, and he forcibly raped her. She reported the rape, and the perpetrator was arrested and prosecuted. And that doesn't always happen, by the way. He was then convicted of rape, which also doesn't always happen, and sentenced to jail, which also doesn't often happen. However, he appealed the conviction, claiming that the sex was consensual. And it was convicted because the Supreme Court overturned it and released the perpetrator, stating from the court that because the victim was wearing very tight jeans, she had to have assisted him by removing them, and therefore it had to have been consensual. This became known throughout Italy as the jeans alibi. And trust me when I tell you, perpetrators use all kinds of alibis. However, as back in 1992, women, Italian women in the parliament, they were so outraged by what had happened that they launched a protest wearing jeans on the steps of the Supreme Court. This protest was picked up by international media. Now think about this. We're in 2025. This is 1992. It was picked up by international media, which inspired the California Senate and the Assembly to do the same on their steps of the Capitol in Sacramento. Patty Ochuzo-Giggins, who was at that time the executive director of an organization called Peace Over Violence, saw this in the media and thought everyone should be wearing jeans to protest all of the myths about why women and girls are raped. Thus, Denim Day in LA was born, and that was 1999, 26 years ago. Since then, what started as a local event to bring awareness to victim blaming and destructive myths that surround sexual violence, it has grown into a worldwide movement. And that movement continues today with all of you here. It is now my honor introduce our first speaker tonight, Josette Huang, Miss Worcester County 2025. Josette was born in California and raised in Hawaii and Barcelona. She received her bachelor's degree in political science and economics from the University of Chicago in March of 2024. Woo-hoo! And afterwards moved to Boston to work as a paralegal for the law firm Skadden, Arps, Slate, Meagher, and Flom. She currently holds the title of Miss Worcester County 2025, a part of the Miss America organization, and is focusing her year of service on preventing sexual violence and supporting survivors. So today, as we close out Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Josette will be sharing her story with perhaps also a message of hope to other survivors in the room and all of us here today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Josette Huang.
Thank you so much, Kim. I love this woman. I only met her a couple weeks ago, and I love her already. Good evening, everyone. My name is Josette Huang, and I am Miss Worcester County 2025. Since moving to Boston, I became acquainted with the organization Pathways for Change. I am so grateful for them for inviting me to speak today and for our participants for being here to help support survivors on Death Day. In my last year of university, I was raped by my ex-partner. I chose to pursue a case against him, but only after I had reached the lowest point in my life. I didn't know how to cope with the trauma, so I chose to stop sleeping to avoid the nightmares and drown myself in booze to avoid the thoughts I had when I was awake, which after several weeks of this drove me to the point of temporary hallucinatory insanity. I woke up in a mental hospital the next day after having a mental breakdown, and after a week of sitting and processing and reflecting, I finally decided that I needed to pursue justice for what had happened to me for me to heal. In my closing statement of my case, I shared what the experience was like for me, and I would like to share it with you today. That night, he treated me like an object for his own amusement and has yet to show any remorse for doing so. To be violated, hurt, and betrayed by someone who supposedly cared about me and who I put my full trust in has ruined my ability to trust others. I am currently struggling not to lose faith in the ability of people to be good. Despite others who know what happened to me telling me not to blame myself, I cannot help but feel immense guilt and shame for having become a victim of his selfish behavior, which led me down a path of self-neglect and self-harm that degraded my mental health to the extreme of me being involuntarily committed to a mental hospital. Although I am now engaged in healthier behaviors towards myself, and a while after the incident, I finally gained the clarity, courage, and resolution to report this crime, this in no way has diminished the pain he has caused me. It breaks my heart to see how this incident is harming my family. I hope only you can understand the guilt and pain of seeing your little brother try to put back together the pieces of heart he did not break, and the desperation of trying to hide from your parents, and you no longer want the gift of life they have given to you because of what another person did to their baby girl. No punishment will ever be enough, but I hope I can at least restore some of my faith in humanity and protect those who might otherwise become his next victims. I was lucky to have my university rule in my favor and give consequences to my perpetrator, but as many of you know, for many victims, this is not their reality. They must suffer in silence or without any tangible remedy. I hope that sharing my own story will help encourage people to show more empathy towards survivors and hold perpetrators accountable for their actions, and maybe even empower some survivors to speak up about their own experiences, because everyone deserves to be supported in the healing journey. And to my fellow survivors, I hope my standing before you today, telling you my story, shows you that there is a way out.
Hey there! Somebody sent you a message on me.
Any of yours to be either. It took many months of sitting there with my emotions, crying, yelling, cursing God, sometimes engaging in a little too much booze, letting myself be completely vulnerable with and relying fully on my support system to carry me when I could not carry myself, hours of therapy, and a million other things. I hope you all will give yourselves the grace to heal and tell yourselves as many times as you need that you deserve to heal. Remember that it was not your fault. I see you, I believe you, and I am fighting for you. I, along with everyone else here, believe you. It might take some time and probably some really bad days, but please trust me when I say it does get better. We are all survivors, which is truly no small feat. Lastly, I just want to say how grateful I am that we have rape crisis centers like Pathways for Change. When I was going through my case against my perpetrator, it seemed like the only thing that mattered was a favorable outcome. In hindsight, what really mattered to me was that I was listened to, believed, and fought for when I couldn't fight for myself. And that is something that Pathways provides every day to hundreds of survivors. So thank you to Pathways for the work that you do, for hosting this event, and for everybody for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josette, for sharing your story of courageousness and bravery. Your message of hope and healing has left a great impact on all of us tonight. Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle. I am the hotline coordinator here at Pathways for Change. If you guys are interested in volunteering or on-call advocacy or our sexual assault counselor training, please find me. I'll be floating around here throughout the whole event. It is my great honor to introduce Senator Robin Kennedy, who is a member of the Massachusetts Senate for the 1st Worcester District. Elected in November 2022, she assumed office on January 4th, 2023. And since taking office, Senator Kennedy has been a tireless champion, advocating in support of survivors and victim services, protections, and funding for legislation. Senator Kennedy does not shy away from tough issues like sexual violence. She tackles them head on, and she believes and listens to survivors thoroughly. Senator Kennedy is also deeply connected in Worcester County, working hard to right wrongs, believing in the power of community, and forging new pathways for positive change, whilst also advocating for healthier communities where everyone can thrive. It is my great pleasure to invite Senator Kennedy to the stage and share some remarks from the Beacon Hill View with us tonight. Over to you, Senator Kennedy.
Thank you so much, Danielle, and thank you, Josette, for your words here and for sharing your story, which we know is all too painful and all too tragic that it needs to happen. And I really honor your willingness to share it. And you know, my friends, I have to acknowledge something in my humanity tonight, that I am just tired. I am tired of the late night messages last night when an elder from our community was unjustly detained at Logan Airport and held through today on false charges, on trumped up charges, trying to go after her legal status here. I'm tired to be here again for another Denim Day. I'm tired knowing that we're going to be here again next year. I am so tired and having survivors have to come forward year after year, month after month, day after day, to tell their stories, to relive the trauma, just to be believed, just for that ounce of dignity to be believed. I am so tired that it was women in Parliament. Women, not men, not the perpetrators that showed up in jeans the next day. It was women that came to demand dignity for their sister in Italy. I am so tired in the knowing that rape is not just about sex, it's about dominance, it's about control, it's about the oppression of the isms of sexism, of racism, of xenophobia, of trying to tear down women and tear down others, gender non-conforming individuals. I am tired in Massachusetts. I'm tired of the number 236. That was the number that I was assigned when I was elected to the legislature, because as of today, there's only been 242 women in hundreds of years of a legislative body that have been elected compared to the 20,000 men. I am so tired in knowing that the work before us is greater than the work behind us. I'm tired looking around this room and seeing the signs that our mothers held, our grandmothers held, and their grandmothers held, demanding justice. saying things that my clothes is not an invitation to rape. I'm tired, my friends. But in that exhaustion, like the air, I rise. I rise today with the survivors who demand justice, demand their dignity back. I rise with Pathways and the advocates here who make their calling about healing. I rise with our community who is already building the world that we want to live in and demanding that justice. I rise with the advocates that showed up at the Mopi Courthouse today demanding justice for Ruth, demanding her release, which I'm pleased to say she has been released. And I rise because I know our work is not done. I know that we have more to do. I know that there is legislation pending right now at the State House around things like the location shield data bill, so that when individuals from around the country come to Massachusetts, because we still protect the right to reproductive care, we still protect the right to gender-affirming care, and we protect doctors, and we protect individuals who come here seeking that treatment, and we know that right now our cell phones can be our worst enemy, and there's legislation that will protect individuals from data being shared about their whereabouts, including when they're at Pathways, including when they're at clinics like Planned Parenthood. I'm grateful that there's legislation pending that says it's going to be the right of individuals to have a chaperone with them in a medical appointment for sensitive medical treatments, so that they can know that they have the safety of not having to fear what could happen with someone that they should trust most through a medical appointment. Like that daybreak that is so wondrously clear, I rise knowing that the work we do together, because we are stronger together. Because I look out at this room and I see the beauty that is our community, and I know that through these darkest of days, the brightest of lights are shining right here in this room. I'm going to continue to rise. The work is so much more ahead of us, but I am so committed, like all of you, to make sure that we continue to show up, we continue to step up, we continue to speak out, even when that voice shakes, because mine still does as much as I have done this, even when we don't quite know the words, or when the words we have to say make others uncomfortable. We're going to keep showing up, we're going to keep speaking out, because someday we want those stories that are told to be stories of beauty, of joy, of celebration, and to one day, which I know we can get to, know that jeans are just a fashion statement and not a political one. So thank you all. Thank you for showing up today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Senator Kennedy, for sharing those remarks with us tonight. Your words resonated with all of us. Hi, my name is Tess Mason DeBurgo, and I am a sexual assault counselor at Pathways for Change. It is my honor to introduce our very own Worcester Mayor, Joseph M. Petty, who has served as mayor of the city of Worcester since January 2012. Mayor Petty was born and raised in the city's Highland Park neighborhood, so he is a true Worcester native. His political career began in 1997 when he was first elected to the Worcester City Council, and has since gone on to become the longest-serving mayor in Worcester's history. Throughout his time as mayor, he is most known for his commitment to community engagement and being the leader of a welcoming city. That commitment continues through his ongoing support of Worcester's nonprofit organizations like Pathways, who provide critical services to Worcester residents. So it is with great pleasure that I invite Mayor Petty up to the stage to share a few remarks and to present a Worcester City proclamation to Pathways in recognition of April's Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Denim Day. Please welcome Mayor Joe Petty.
Thank you, Tess. It's great being in Worcester. Appreciate that, and Josette, thank you for sharing your story, the powerful story it is, and Robin, for your beautiful, Senator Kennedy, for your beautiful words too. I'm glad you're here to state senator. As we know, wearing jeans today, Senator Kennedy, is not a fashion thing, but hopefully someday it will be. And it's a statement of unity, awareness, solidarity with survivors that have experienced sexual assault and violence. Denim Day is a worldwide movement that seeks to eliminate victim blaming, empower survivors, and prevent future acts of violence. And the City of Worcester should be honored to participate in such a movement of pathways. By wearing denim, we are opening dialogue about the importance of consent, respect, and support of survivors. The City of Worcester also recognizes the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and seeks to foster a continuous relationship with Pathways for Change and other local organizations that better the lives of survivors. With that, I have a proclamation I'd like to read. The month of April is declared and recognized nationally as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It's intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications, and to encourage citizens to consider the issue and become familiar with the impact of sexual violence in all communities. Whereas the City of Worcester, in observance of this month, strongly supports the efforts of Pathways for Change, and declared the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and brought together the community on this day, April 30th, also known as nationally as Denim Day USA, to honor survivors and their families who have been impacted by sexual violence, by recognizing the issue of sexual violence as the responsibility of all citizens to join the effort to make a stand against any form of violence. And whereas we understand that rape, sexual assault, sexual exploitation, and trafficking, sexual harassment, and all other forms of sexual violence impacts our community, as seen by statistics indicating every 68 seconds a person living in America is sexually assaulted, and every 9 minutes that victim is a child, and that one in 3 women and 1 in 5 men will be raped at some point in their lives. That only 25 out of every 1,000 perpetrators will end up in prison. Whereas we recognize that child sexual abuse prevention must be priority to confront the reality that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. And our young people experience heightened rates of sexual violence. Whereas we recognize that Pathways for Changing provides a comprehensive array of free and confidential services to survivors of sexual violence. This past year, Pathways has supported over 1,300 individuals as they begin their healing and journey after victimization, as well as their family, friends, and partners. That over 3,000 youth receive healthy relationships, education. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Joseph M. Petty, will hereby proclaim the month of April to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the City of Worcester encourage all its residents to participate. I just want to encourage everyone to continue the importance of these conversations, and with the denim, share your knowledge and encourage others to get involved. And together with Pathways for Change to make a big difference, as you have, and as you have now, and you will in the future. Thank you. I do have a proclamation to give to Kim. Sam, you want to come up? Robert? Come on, come forward.
Before the next speaker comes up, I just want to quickly jump up and say thank you to Mary Jo Petty and to Senator Robert Kennedy. I have to tell you that one of the things that is so important, and you hear all of these different messages tonight around survivorship, around allyship, around support, around believing survivors. And I wanted to remind you all that our theme tonight is healing. And the word heal, we have taken that word and used it as an acronym. H for hope, E for empowerment, A for allyship, and L for love. We need to heal one another. We need to heal and help support heal survivors. We have artwork around the room tonight that has been submitted by either a survivor or an ally of a survivor. If you have not already taken time to view the different pieces of art and the descriptions and their inspiration underneath, please do that before you leave tonight. That is a big part of why we gathered here today, was inviting our community members to submit a piece of art, to really speak to visually so often the stories that survivors cannot speak for themselves. So please do that. And now I'm going to turn it over to the next part of the program. And I'm going to invite our Director of Education and Outreach, Rosa Fernandez, to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. As Kim said, I'm Rosa Fernandez. I am the Director of Education and Outreach at Pathways for Change. It is truly a privilege to work for such an impactful organization and to introduce our next speaker. We are gathered here today to advocate for justice against sexual violence, and there's no one better to share their powerful story than a survivor herself. I get the honor to introduce Sarah Kayavaso Pike. Sarah has an incredible background. She is a veteran member and currently serves as the Youth Engagement Coordinator for Chananai Health Equity Partnership of North Central Mass, who is so dear to my heart. I first met Sarah through her work with Robbie Hopes, where she was a teenager ambassador and involved in mental health community where she worked, where I met her 5 years ago. Her words on mental health impressed me and compelled me to follow her activism. Sarah practices activism in public speaking spaces, sharing parts of her story to enact change and make support more accessible. I can assure you that her insights will be both inspiring and enlightening. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Sarah. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah, and I'm a survivor. I see the headlines and social media posts all the time supporting Survivor. It's not your fault. She wasn't asking for it. XYZ still counts as rape. But in my community, Pepperell, Mass., like many small towns, we don't talk about topics like sexual assault. When I started speaking up and out about sexual assault and reproductive injustices, I spoke about the devastation and lasting impact rape holds, how there are so many triggers, constant hypervigilance, and fear of so many things. I spoke about the fact that reproductive rights are life-saving, because for so many, the thought of losing further control through unwanted pregnancy can create suicidal thoughts like it did in myself, further anxiety, or unnecessary hurdles through healing. What I was saying seemed like common sense, that everyone would agree with and support me, but that was not the case. I began to hear so much victim blaming that I didn't originally realize was still so prevalent in our society. Along with support, I got many comments saying, "It's your fault. You should." What were you wearing? Every time I post a video spreading awareness for reproductive rights and rape, I have to delete comments victim blaming. I'm reminded just how toxic rape culture can be. Then one day, I was out alone having fun shopping after I went to a restaurant to hang out before an appointment. A guy started catcalling me, making scary and creepy comments, making me feel very unsafe. No one around us stopped him. The fear and panic immediately shocked through my body as he said those words. I went to the bathroom and proceeded to have a panic attack. Once I thought I was calm, I came out but still looked visibly upset. A customer who was there when this happened asked if I was okay, and because I was struggling so much, I told her. She told me he did nothing wrong. What he said was true, and I am an awful person for saying this and feeling the way I do. She blamed me for what he did, and I profusely apologized, praying that man or she wouldn't hurt me. I am someone who doesn't like anyone to see me upset, and I ran out of that restaurant crying and hyperventilating. I felt so ashamed, broken, scared, and alone. I wanted that agonizing pain to be over. I had such an intense trauma response that I would end up attempting to take my life 2 hours later. After a few hours, I called 911 on myself out of fear of being attacked alone at night in the middle of the city. Making that call terrified me because of the knowledge that mental health crises aren't always handled properly. I was scared of being handcuffed, pepper sprayed, or shoved to the ground. But luckily, that couldn't be farther from what happened. The paramedic who responded that night is someone I'll never forget. She was the person who showed me so much kindness and empathy. She held my hand almost the whole time. She calmed my panic attack and made sure I felt safe, especially surrounded by male first responders. She told me I'm safe and that no one can hurt me. She told me I'm gonna be okay and I'm gonna get through that. That I am so important and have so much to live for. She went above and beyond that night. When I got out of the hospital, I was critically ill and spent time in the ICU. I was inpatient for about 3 weeks, and during that time, remembering the kindness of that paramedic gave me so much strength and hope. She gave me fighting power. 14 days after being discharged, I spoke on the State House steps, sharing my story and the importance for reproductive rights while surrounded by moms who stood by me and hugged me after. Since then, I have spoken a few times and have become a stronger advocate for sexual assault survivors. I hoped for months to meet that paramedic someday and tell her thank you, and that I made it because of her. She gave me the strength to fight like I do now. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for being kind. I am also so grateful to Pathways for Change for helping me navigate my healing journey in ways that felt authentic to me. Being able to receive counseling and participate in healing circles gave me the tools I use when I need to. Like everyone, my healing is not perfect. I still get triggered sometimes, but I now have the strength and resilience to know my assault was not my fault. And I have an incredible reason to be here, to advocate for survivors. Healing started to happen for me when I experienced moments like those with this paramedic and the women I met on their State House steps. When I started facing the problems head on, I started becoming a part of the change in how society views sexual violence. When I talk about my experiences in my community, conversations are opened up, so for other survivors to share their truth and feel less alone. While we cannot stop rape culture and victim blaming overnight, we can start by opening up these conversations around sexual violence and stand up for and support the survivors we know in our life. Together, we can change the culture.
courage of the survivor to share their story and to continue to advocate for other survivors. This is why we are here. We know how hard it is for survivors to come forward, but to come forward and then also share their story with others is a hugely courageous thing to do. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your story with us, and to Josette for sharing your story with us. Thank you.
Short hair. Bear with me. Thank you so much. If you guys could just give her, Sarah, one more round of applause. Words of support. My name is Stephanie. I am the Assistant Director of Campus Services here at Pathways, and it is my honor to introduce our next speaker. Her name is Serenity Jackson. She is a 15-year-old sophomore from Western Tech High School. Yep. She is a rapper and a performer with the stage name of Lil Rennie. Serenity has been performing since the age of 9, with many performances under her belt, ranging from a variety of music festivals, public events, feature showcases in New York's Apollo Theater. She was also recently a winner at Fuller Park's National Baseball Poetry Festival in April of 2023. Serenity has served as the 3rd youth poet and ambassador of the city of Worcester. Serenity's creativity stands as a testament to the boundless potential that Worcester's next generation has. Get ready to be inspired by Serenity as she takes the mic and embodying the rhythm and the rhyme of our vibrant city. Please give her a round of applause.
Hello everyone. Please excuse me. I have really bad allergies, so my voice might be a little, scratchy. But today I have the privilege to share a poem that I wrote specifically for this day. It's called "You Are Not What Was Done to You." As a 16-year-old girl living today, I have some important words I want to say about a topic that is always through under disguise, but lies heavy in the victim's heart like the sun lies in the sky. Except the victim doesn't feel like they have a light shining inside of them, but instead they feel like the broken light bulb who has potential to work, to shine their light on others, but just forgot how. As little as the topic is discussed, comforting these victims and getting them the help they need is a must. And to the victim out there, I know you may feel like the storm stole the sun, but the innocence stolen from your soul was not your fault. You shouldn't have to be blamed for the way someone else treated you. It's not about the clothes that you wear, the way that you look, the hairstyles you do, or how much makeup you wear. How someone else treats you is not your fault. There's nothing you could do to trigger someone to act that way, to do things to you without your consent, and you shouldn't have to hold that responsibility. And not only is this topic stolen from girls' mouths, but it's now also being stolen from boys' mouths as well. Sexual assault does not only happen to one gender, but of both. Sexual assault does not only happen to one age, but of many. As people hear about stories that happen to those who have been taken advantage of, it always sounds like we have to blame the men in this world, but we're also forgetting that there are girls who hold that responsibility as well. We shouldn't close off sexual things without consent to a specific gender, because this comes from a person's heart. Consent is consent, and no means no. It doesn't have to happen in a specific way to be considered assault. If you have been taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form, you deserve the same treatment that others get. In no way should you feel like you have no control over what someone else has done to you. That is not okay. Thoughts eventually lead to your brain with questions that you overwhelm yourself with. Why does this have to happen to me? Is it my body? Is it how I look? Is it how I act? There's not anything that you could do in this world that would cause you to deserve to be taken advantage of. You deserve to be loved, comforted, and respected. Stop blaming yourself for what has happened to you. And if it hasn't happened to you, stop blaming those you find out about for the reason it happened. We shouldn't have to find out what clothes they were wearing at that time that it happened to know that that person did not deserve the way that they were treated. Victim, you did not ask for this no matter what people are saying to you. The blame is not yours, not even a little bit. I know it feels like you're stuck in this hole that you physically can't get out of, that you're stuck in the mud that you physically can't become clean from. But I promise you, your story does not end with what happened to you. There will be a time where you find that protection in somebody's arms, a time where you find that comfort in talking to someone, a time where someone will wrap their arms around you and tell you how much they love you. And if you feel like you cannot find that person anywhere, then this is why I'm standing right here to tell you that you are not alone, and that if you need anything, I will be there for you. It's okay to feel angry, numb, broken, or used. It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel the things that you are feeling. But it is also okay to allow yourself to heal, to give yourself closure, to trust someone again. Never in a million years will what happened to you be right, but you will also find the light again. Every single day that you wake up, the sun comes back around, and every single night before you go to sleep, the sun goes back down. That means every single day you have a brand new opportunity to start and end your day. So I advise you to go and get the help that you need, to talk to someone about how you feel, to be open, and to get love, get comfort, get closure. I promise you, keeping it bottled up because you're trying to save someone's reputation is only going to hurt yourself. You do deserve everything that you want in your life. And I also advise us to be good listeners, helpers, providers, and comforters for those who have experienced being taken advantage of. Let's stop justifying what had happened to someone because of the clothes that they were wearing, because of the situation that they were in, or because of the life that they lived. Sexual assault is sexual assault, and consent is important too, no matter what. Let's put an end to blaming victims, and let's put a start to protecting and comforting the hearts of those who experience it. If something hasn't happened to where you have been taken advantage of, or you have been blamed, or you blame someone for being taken advantage of, this poem isn't to shame you. This poem is to make you feel loved, heard, comforted, and respected. Because just because you may not allow your voice to be heard does not mean that people do not want to hear your voice. Just because you haven't went out and told your story does not mean that your story is not important. And just because you have a story does not mean that you are less important. Your story does not define who you are, but your story defines who you can become based off what has happened to you. Take what you went through and shine because of it. You are super strong and you are super important. You are super loved. I hope that this poem has touched somebody's heart in this room, and if it hasn't, I hope that it will cause somebody to think about what they do before they do it. Thank you.
That was a beautiful poem and a great call to action. We all do need to step up and do more and care for one another. And I'm sure it'll stay with the audience for a while. So my name is Kathleen. I'm a social media specialist and youth counselor at Pathways. And next up, I'm going to be introducing Miss Wendy Aguilar and Chelsea Patrice from Chana 9. They're both performing My Short Skirt and Mi Falda Corta in their respective languages. Both of these amazing women work tirelessly to improve the lives of individuals across Central and North Central Mass. Wendy is the Assistant Director of Outreach and has been with Pathways for over 2 decades, providing much-needed outreach support to our communities and sexual violence survivors. Chelsea is the Executive Director of Chana 9, serving the public health interests of North Central Mass. I greatly admire and respect both of these women. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
lo quiero dar porque te quiero atrapar.
My short skirt is not an invitation, a provocation, an indication that I want it, or give it, or that I hook.
Mi falda corta no está pidiéndolo. No quiere que me la desgarres o que me la bajes.
My short skirt is not begging for it. It does not want you to rip it off me or pull it down.
Mi falda corta no es una razón legal para violarme, aunque antes lo era. Hoy en día no se puede sostener en la nueva legislación.
My short skirt is not a legal reason for raping me. Although it has been in the past, it will not hold up in the new courts.
Mi falda corta, lo creas o no, papacito, no tiene nada que ver contigo.
My short skirt, believe it or not, honey, has nothing to do with you.
Mi falda corta está a punto de descubrir el poder de mis pantorrillas con el aire del otoño viajando entre mis muslos internos. Está cerca de sentir todo lo que ve, todo lo que siente y vive dentro de mí.
My short skirt is about discovering the power of my lower calves, about cool autumn air traveling up my inner thighs, about allowing everything I see or pass or feel to live inside.
Mi falda corta no es una prueba de que soy estúpida, indecisa o una niña malcriada.
My short skirt is not proof that I am stupid, or undecided, or a malleable little girl.
Mi falda corta es mi desafío. No permitiré que me asustes. Mi falda corta no está buscando nada. Esto es lo que soy. Antes de que me obligues a taparme o a bajármela, vete acostumbrando a ella.
My short skirt is my defiance. I will not make you let you make me afraid. My short skirt is not showing off. This is who I am. Before you make me cover it or tone it down, get used to it.
Mi falda corta es felicidad. Me hace sentir que estoy aquí y que estoy bien buena.
My short skirt is happiness. I can feel myself on the ground. I am here. I am hot.
Mi falda corta es una bandera de libertad en el ejército de las mujeres. Yo declaro estas calles y todas las calles el país de mi vagina.
My short skirt is a liberation flag in the women's army. I declare these streets, any streets, my vagina's country.
Mi falda corta es el agua turquesa donde nadan los peces de colores. Un festival de verano en una noche estrellada. Un tren llegando de un pueblo extranjero.
My short skirt is turquoise water with swimming colored fish. A summer festival in the starry dark. A bird calling. A train arriving in a foreign town.
Mi falda corta es un giro salvaje. Una respiración completa. Un paso de tango.
My short skirt is a wild spin. A full breath. A tango dip.
Mi falda corta es iniciación, apreciación, excitación, pero sobre todo mi falda corta y todo lo que hay debajo de ella es mío.
My short skirt is initiation, appreciation, excitation. But mainly, my short skirt and everything under it is mine.
It was really great being able to do that skit in 2 languages. I think that really drives home what Pathways is about, what Worcester is about, and what our community really should be embracing.
thank all of you for attending Pathways for Change's 2025 Denim Day event. Without your support for survivors, we couldn't affect the cultural change and provide the compassionate care needed in our efforts to end sexual violence. To our speakers, performers, and artists, thank you so much for your time, commitment, skill, and strength. You made this event so special and impactful by spreading hope and joy through your healing messages to our community. A special thank you to our survivor storytellers, Josette and Sarah, and our local poet, Serenity. You all have so much courage and resilience. I can't help but to admire the passion you all have for using your stories and words to create awareness and promote healing for survivors. A big shout out to our Denim Day planning members and the whole Pathways team. Your help and support are what makes all of the difference in the work that you do every day, and thank you for helping make this event wonderful. As I'm sure everyone in this room is aware, we are living through scary and turbulent times. We are all witnessing a nation that is being bullied into moving backward instead of forward. Laws and funding that have historically provided our most in need and at risk are being stripped away in an attempt to silence, belittle, and erase us. Some of our elected and non-elected officials are doing their best to foster contempt, fear, and hatred. In times such as we are living now, it is so important to remember that there is still happiness, strength, love, and hope among us. That through building and accessing our communities, we can rise up against those who wish to exert power and control over us and help heal our communities. I truly believe that through strong communities, nearly anything is possible. We're not meant to walk through life alone. We are not meant to leave our vulnerable behind. We're not meant to hate each other. We are meant to find people whose strengths complement our weaknesses. We are meant to accommodate and uplift those who need our help, and we are meant to care for and respect one another. When people are taken care of, they take care of people. When the burden becomes too heavy for one to hold, a friend, neighbor, or community member comes to help lessen that burden and carry it. Community means that we are all in this life together and will support each other through it. There are two things I wish for you all to take away from here tonight. One, that while times are uncertain, we need to continue to build up and rely on each other to come through and rebuild what we will have lost. And two, keep telling your stories, creating art, and expressing all of your emotions. Let hope, resilience, and joy shine through the darkness of fear, uncertainty, and despair. Community will keep us strong, and joy is an act of rebellion. Thank you.
hearing you now for some reason.
Okay, so I know that it's very loud there, so I'm hoping that you guys can pick up on volume and pick up voice. So I'm waiting for folks to come on over. Everyone's acting shy. We'll rally some people around.
transcripts, I couldn't hear. All I can hear is the background noise.
Of the volume of everyone just greeting each other and networking, it is really hard to have these one-on-one conversations, and it's really hard for the sound to come through. So what I'm going to do, if you want to see someone in particular, shoot me a DM. I will make sure that I invite that guest to the program, to the Sipping Tea with Suzanne. But if you're just tuned in, you were watching Sipping Tea with Suzanne. We were at Pathway for Change Denim Day community event. It is the last Wednesday of every April, and it's Sexual Survivors Awareness Month. And, you know, if you don't know the story about Denim Day, go find out about it. They announced what it was at the beginning of the show. My name is Positively Suzanne, and I am so humbled that I got an opportunity to partner with Pathways for Change and live stream this event, so that those who were unable to attend will have an opportunity to watch it. It's such an incredible program, and unfortunately, it's something that we need. And until sexual abuse stops happening to both male and female, we are going to continue to highlight Denim Day. We're going to continue to highlight sexual survivors' story, and we're going to continue to advocate for them. The work continues. Thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, we'll be back in the studio next week at 6 p.m. with a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. But until then, bye-bye.